Coming up on Quad Cities Today at 11, it's the day after the elections across the country. We're going to take a look at highlights nationally as well as our local and state races. Then we're keeping a close eye on Tropical Storm Nicole off the coast of Florida, where it's tracking and who may be impacted.
And we're starting off our late morning hours with some beautiful sunshine here. It is going to be a warmer afternoon. It'll be warm tomorrow as well, but there will be some rain and even the potential for storms in the forecast soon. I'll continue tracking that today. Quad Cities Today at 11 starts now.
Live from the KWQC studio, this is Quad Cities Today at 11.
First at 11, an update in our Decision 2022 coverage. We have an unofficial winner in the Illinois District 17 Congressional District. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Kiel. Morgan is off. Democrat Eric Sorensen has declared victory in Illinois' 17th Congressional District general election and issued the following statement this morning. Quote, "From day one, we said this campaign was about electing a representative who was known and trusted. It was about protecting our democracy and securing reproductive rights. It was also about making sure that our incredible communities are sustainable for generations to come. I am honored to be the congressman-elect for Illinois' 17th Congressional District," end quote. Sorensen says Esther Joy King has called him to concede the race. More election results for you this midday. In Iowa, Kim Reynolds has been elected governor for another term. The incumbent won over Democratic challenger Deidre DeGier and Libertarian candidate Rick Stewart. The race was called very early in the night. Governor Reynolds gave a victory speech at her campaign party in Des Moines, saying that she is ready to fight for the people of Iowa in another term.
A state that's rooted in faith, freedom, and hard work. I want to tell you, it has been the honor of a lifetime to have the opportunity to serve as the governor of this amazing state. And it's even a greater honor to be given the opportunity to serve you for another 4 years.
And in the U.S. Senate, longtime Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa won re-election against Democratic challenger Admiral Mike Franken. For the Scott County Board of Supervisors, Ross Poshton, John Maxwell, and Gene Dixon have also won. And for Scott County Attorney, Kelly Cunningham Hahn has won over Caleb Copley with 53% of the vote. Then for Scott County Auditor, Carrie Tompkins has won with 55% of the vote. Across the river in Illinois to another gubernatorial race that was called early in the night, incumbent Governor J.B. Pritzker won the governor's seat for another term in Illinois, defeating current state senator Republican Darren Bailey. This race was called before 7:15 last night, just after the polls closed in Illinois. Governor Pritzker gave a victory speech just after 9 o'clock, saying that his main priorities are fighting for Illinoisans' education and rights.
I was making the decision to run for a second term as governor of Illinois. I asked myself if I was ready for the fight again, because this is a moment requiring a steel spine for the years ahead as our nation's fundamental ideals are under siege. I love this job, and I've never shied away from its demands.
Another Illinois race that was called early, incumbent Senator Tammy Duckworth retains her seat as U.S. Senator of Illinois. She came out on top over Republican Kathy Salvi and Libertarian candidate Bill Redpath. In the race for Rock Island Sheriff, Democrat Darren Hart has been elected to replace retiring Jerry Bustos. Hart defeated Republican Patrick Moody there for Rock Island County Sheriff. Illinois had a constitutional amendment on the ballot as well. The amendment will add to the right to collective bargaining to the state constitution. That one passed with close to 60% of the votes. And back in Iowa, voters approved a new constitutional amendment yesterday, adding the right to keep and bear arms to the state constitution. This vote will make it more difficult to pass gun restrictions and easier to change existing gun laws. It passed with 65% of the votes. All the votes have been cast, but the political landscape in Washington remains unclear this morning. While overall midterm election results may not be known for several hours or even days, candidates from both parties are still celebrating historic victories. Karen Kafa is on Capitol Hill with the latest.
Democrats waking up this morning and thinking maybe this was not as bad as had been anticipated. Meanwhile, Republicans are looking to strong performances in some key battleground states to weigh how that might shape the 2024 presidential field. Both parties, however, looking to Capitol Hill, where the balance of power has yet to be determined. The battle for control of Congress is coming down to just a handful of critical races. Democrats garnering enough victories across the country to stave off Republicans' pursuit of a red wave, but with several races still too close to call, both parties now clinging to hopes of winning narrow majorities in both chambers. A key win for Democrats.
I'll be the next U.S. Senator from Pennsylvania.
As Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman defeated Trump-endorsed Dr. Mehmet Oz to flip the formerly Republican-held Senate seat, giving Democrats a much-needed opportunity to maintain control of the upper chamber. The GOP also falling short on Senate races in New Hampshire and Colorado, but taking key victories in Florida, North Carolina, and Ohio, where Republican J.D. Vance defeated Democratic Senate candidate Tim Ryan.
I will never forget where I came from, and I will never forget the great people of Ohio. Thank you for this honor to serve you. I'll fight for you every day.
Control of the House, too, remains uncertain. Republicans, who expected to benefit from high inflation and historical trends, have not seen all of their anticipated victories materialize. However, GOP momentum in the closing stretch has prepared the White House for potentially governing in a divided Washington.
It is clear that we are going to take the House back.
But tight races in Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, and Georgia could take days, if not weeks, to be decided, leaving the balance of power in Washington up in the air. And both parties seeing historic firsts this midterm cycle. Republicans adding to their roster of women governors. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is the first woman elected to that post in the state of Arkansas. Democrats seeing great strides for black lawmakers and office holders. Wes Moore will be the first black governor of the state of Maryland. And Gen Z has its first member of the U.S. House. Maxwell Frost, out of the 10th congressional district in Florida, is just 25 years old. On Capitol Hill, I'm Karen Kafa.
And our Decision 2022 coverage continues on our digital platforms. All of the results from last night's election can be found on our website and news app. Just go to the Decision 2022 page. The results will also be scrolling on the bottom of your screen throughout the day. Well, time now for a check of the First Alert forecast. A live look outside from our live sky view showing plenty of sunshine here across the QCA. Alexis, we had started the day with temperatures in the 50s, and with all of that sunshine, we are really warming things up this afternoon.
We will be warming up. Temperatures are likely going to be at least into the low 70s here within the next couple of hours. As of just a few minutes after 11 o'clock, we're already seeing that some temperatures are anywhere from about 10 to 20 degrees warmer compared to this time yesterday morning. And that means that temperatures, yes, are already into the 70s for some spots. We have 71 here in the QC, 72 for Washington, 70 for Muscatine and Mount Pleasant, 67 in Clinton and Rock Falls, with 60 right now in Galena. We do have some of those winds around 10 to 15 miles per hour. It'll get even breezier for tomorrow. As we take a look at those temperatures, though, for this afternoon, yes, we will find that those temperatures will get closer to the mid 70s near the Quad Cities before they fall back into the 60s here this evening. However, the 60s are actually going to be a trend into the rest of the overnight hours. We'll drop to the low 60s here for at least morning temperatures tomorrow. And one more time, we'll hit those highs back into the low to mid 70s. There will be plenty of changes on your Thursday afternoon. We'll start to feel the breezy conditions. Then we get some rain, and we're really going to get some whiplash temperatures because it is going to be way colder by later Thursday. So I'll give you the rest of that forecast here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Alexis. Now to weather making national headlines. At this hour, it's a state of emergency in Florida. That's as Tropical Storm Nicole is intensifying. It is forecast to become a Category 1 hurricane and could be the first hurricane to strike the United States this late in the season and this late in the year in nearly 40 years. The rare November storm is bringing life to a grinding halt in the Sunshine State as people along the coast brace for its impact. Reporter Ivan Rodriguez has the latest from Jensen Beach.
Here in Jensen Beach, Florida, you can see these waves coming in behind me. Where I'm standing, I'm technically not even at the beginning of the beach, and we're already seeing water levels come up to where I'm standing now. The National Weather Service saying they're expecting Nicole to gain strength as it heads for Florida's east coast. The threat of a direct strike from a Category 1 hurricane has triggered mandatory evacuations in Florida's Palm Beach and Volusia counties Wednesday morning.
This incoming storm is a direct threat to both property and life. A low category hurricane or even a tropical storm will cause more damage than usual due to the weakened infrastructure we have. If you were impacted with flooding from Hurricane Ian, then you can expect to be impacted by this upcoming storm as well.
People still struggling to recover from Hurricane Ian's deadly wrath a mere 6 weeks ago are having a hard time coping with the new threat Nicole brings.
We've lived in this house and in this neighborhood for 30 years, and we've been through quite a few hurricanes here. We've never seen anything like what Ian did. To think about water getting back in our house now, it's like...
Orlando International Airport is ceasing all commercial operations beginning at 4 p.m. Wednesday until circumstances permit operations to resume. The airport in Melbourne is closing 2 hours earlier.
We're going to have a very large area of impacts.
Several school districts are now closed Wednesday and Thursday, with Nicole expected to strike land near Melbourne overnight Wednesday into Thursday.
We all need to be mindful, however, that the storm's track remains uncertain. It could still shift north or south as it reaches closer to Florida.
Coming up next on Quad Cities Today at 11, your senior moment with the Center for Active Seniors. We're talking about the 2022 Hat Bash benefiting KSI. That's coming up after the break in a live interview.